In this third video about preaching, I want to talk about the actual preparation of the sermon, at least how I prepare it. Now, I'm going to walk through the steps that I use to prepare a sermon weekly. Personal things interfere, professional things impinge on it, adjustments always have to be made, often abbreviating my steps in preparation. But I can say this: the closer I follow this preparation technique that I try to use weekly, the better the results. So here's what I do. Tuesday afternoon, I research, perhaps 4 hours or more. Sometimes if I'm doing some more extended readings, it'll be at night. I take written notes on my research, my consultation with the various resources I've outlined in the previous video. For the first 3/4 of my career, after the sermon was delivered, I threw all of that away, all of my notes, because I didn't want it to interfere with a future time when I might preach on the same text, so that I could approach each time anew, and it worked very well for me. Within the last 8 years or so, I have changed direction. I now save those notes, and if I am coming back to a passage that I have preached on before, I will review my research notes from last time, but always read at least one new thing, or else go back and really read thoroughly one of the resources I have taken notes on. I'll try to read always in a series, a new book, a new commentary. I don't know if it's Easter season, a new theologian's book on the resurrection. If I'm preaching a series on Exodus, a book I haven't read on Exodus, some aspect of it. That's the kind of thing. My notes are just really basic. I one on the top of each sheet, I do a 1-sentence summary of each scripture passage for the day, a little longer for the one I'm preaching on. Then I write down notes from my resources, and I keep track of where I get them, so that if I happen to want to really refer to it, I can accredit it orally, or at least if I'm publishing that sermon in a written way. Then I make a list of ideas. And those ideas might be, a passage, a comment, something in the news, a story, a hymn title, things that'll contribute to the point and theme and the title that I've chosen months and months ago. I always try to have about 4 times as many things on a list of ideas, because many of them are not going to turn out to be useful, at least for me at that time. On Thursday mornings, if I'm at a larger church at least, or where I'm full-time, I'll either teach a lectionary study group in which we go over the whole lectionary readings, but focus on that series that's being preached on. I get a lot out of that, out of the conversation, sometimes sermon ideas, sometimes quotes, sometimes questions that I need to address in the sermon. Then on either Thursday or Friday afternoon, when I take my daily 3-mile walk, though I must admit it's not always daily, it might be 5 times a week I do it. On one of those walks, I think about the sermon, and I think it out completely on that walk. I'll have the whole structure worked out on that walk, and usually I'll jot down an outline when I come back from the walk. Largely everything from that point on feels mechanical and boring to me, because I could give the sermon at that time, but it won't be as good as if I finish my preparation. Then on Saturday afternoon, I write the sermon, no matter what technique I'm using for delivery, whether it's going to be from a pulpit with a text in front of me, walking around the middle aisle, orally, any technique, I still write it out. Writing out does a lot of things for me. Maybe if I'd written out these videos, it'd be the same. I get shorter, I get clearer, I get more concise, I get more on target and on the point, maybe a little more eloquent in my speech as well. So I write it out completely on Saturday afternoon. On Saturday evening, I edit the sermon. Among the things my agenda to edit is always to cut at least 20% out of unnecessary words, phrases, whatever. And it gets not only blessedly shorter, but clearer. Then on Sunday morning, I practice the sermon. For me, I practice it silently, but my lips are moving, my arms are moving, and I practice it. And as I practice, sometimes I still make some more cuts, still maybe change a few words. And that's it. I have prepared the sermon. So with the sermon planned, resourced, and prepared, it's ready for delivery.